Hey everyone, I hope you had a good week. It's Friday and I've got some time, so I thought I'd do another video to help you to liberate your mind. So, how would you like to know how to instantly silence your mind? Now, there are lots of little tips and tricks that you can use because the body has all kinds of mechanisms and things built into it. Some of it's quite primal, goes back to the days when we're in the jungle, and other ways are just things that where the body can't do multiple things at once. So this is certainly going to help you to liberate your mind if you are an overthinker. So you can either do these things just one thing at a time, or you can put them all together. So the first thing is quite a good technique to do whether you are trying to think clearly, focus, or to meditate with your eyes open. That's something that some people like to do once they get to a certain level of meditation, is actually learn to meditate with their eyes open, and this will help you to do that. Or just that you're in a bit of a flap and you just need to quieten your mind. All right, so this is a technique called hakalau. Strange name, I know. It comes from the Hawaiians. And basically, it's a way of putting yourself into self-hypnosis and a hyper-aware state. So if you think about when you're back in the jungle, back in the day, and you basically were looking for prey, or you were trying to listen out for predators, this is what we would have naturally done. So you basically choose a spot on the wall in front of you and you look at that spot, you fix your gaze on that spot, but then you actually bring out your periphery vision or peripheral as far as you can. And what you can do is you can kind of wiggle your fingers and just keep seeing how far you can move the fingers and still see those fingers without breaking the gaze from that spot. Now, if you can imagine what that does is hakalau literally means to stare and then spread out that vision. So it's doing that. And what it does is it opens up the unconscious mind. It puts you into a learning state. So if you're trying to focus or come up with ideas or really listen to what someone's saying to you and analyze it. I do this when I'm actually working with clients because it puts me in a hyper-aware state when I'm hearing everything and I'm thinking as clearly as I can and taking in all the information. And it's great. It really does work, and it instantly quiets the mind. So it just switches everything off and puts you into that receiving mode, right? So that's the first thing. If you can actually bolt these on and sort of build into one long thing. So what you can do then is you can just drop the jaw and relax the jaw while you're doing that, because what that will do is it tells the body to relax, the jaw drops. And if you want to add an extra thing to that, you can lift your tongue to the roof of your mouth, just behind where the shelf is for the teeth. And they would call that a tongue mudra in meditation, but you don't need to know what the name of it is. If you put your tongue up there, the basic premise of this is if your brain or body thinks you're speaking, it doesn't like to think at the same time. You can't think and speak at the same time, which causes some people some problems. So basically, if you have got your staring going on like that, you drop and relax your jaw as much as you can. And you can literally just imagine getting that more and more relaxed. All of those things will take you into a state of hypnosis. Meditation, hypnosis, it's actually the same thing. The only difference is with hypnosis, someone's doing it to you, right? Rather than you just going into that meditative state, right? So dropping the jaw, putting the tongue up to the roof of your mouth, silence, right? Complete peace. Your mind is now quiet, and you can just then add other things onto it. So for example, then you can actually build into it some sound, like you want to listen. So not only are you now sensing, but you're listening, because in order to listen, really properly listen, you've got to be quiet, and your brain goes into that. So it's almost like you're listening out for your surroundings. And by doing that, you'll tap into things, especially if you're meditating. It's a really good way of quietening the mind. And if you want to add on to that, you can then add a breathing technique, because the moment you make something that's unconscious, i.e. breathing, into something that is conscious, you will switch into the parasympathetic nervous system. So you've got a twin nervous system. One of them is speeding you up and getting you more stressed out and ready for fight or flight. The other one is calming you down. It's putting you into that recovery mode. So by making your breathing very conscious and purposeful, you're going to bring yourself in there. Now, if you want to really do a good one for meditation or for healing and boosting your immune system, immune system, you're going to use your heart. They've done a lot of research at the HeartMath Institute, and basically if you actually practice breathing into your heart, to and from your heart each day, it actually boosts your immune system and puts you into that healing state in your body. And you can literally imagine breathing down and bringing everything into your heart. Every sensation, everything, you're kind of almost just breathing in and out of your heart. And you might be amazed at how peaceful that is. And you're basically meditating when you do that. So if you're someone that says, I can't meditate, a lot of people struggle is because what they think they have to do is just try and focus on emptying the mind, which is impossible. What you want to do is give your mind something to do, right? So if you can convince your brain that you're speaking so it shuts up, if you can actually put yourself into that learning state, if you can then put your focus on your heart and really focus on the breathing, and there's nothing wrong with counting. Actually, counting is something that then gives that brain something to do. And if you manage to do that for long enough, you'll find that you start to feel certain sensations and focused awareness, and it starts to get very interesting after that if you get good at it. So heart breathing, very good for the immune system, as well as you bolt that on there. Interestingly, something else you can do is just get the posture right. All right. Now, although posture isn't going to quieten your mind necessarily, what it will do is it's actually impossible to be in a good posture and feel bad about anything. And I dare anyone to try and do that. So think of something that makes you feel good, sit in that kind of posture, and then without changing your posture, try and feel bad. And if you hold the posture, you'll notice that there is an inner fight now between your body wanting to do the posture of someone that's in a depressed state. And we know what that looks like, heads down, shoulders, and all the rest of it. So don't do that, right? Hold the posture up. It connects the back, the spine is straight, the energy centers, if you believe in any of that. So that's all very positive, and it just adds to that. It enhances what you're doing there. And the final thing, whether or not there's anyone there or not, and so it doesn't matter how silly you might look, is just smile. And if you can do it properly and authentically, and you're like me, my eyes disappear, I'm like smiling, then basically what happens is these muscles here, when they're properly engaged, it's almost like two levers are pulled and you get a waft of oxytocin through the system, because the brain says, well, there must be something good going on, so here's the happy hormone, right? So you stack all of that together, and not only will you quieten your mind, if you can sit and breathe like that, no one's going to know what you're doing. You could do this on a bus, you could do this. And the thing is, whereas meditation, you have your eyes shut, you can do this with your eyes wide open and no one's going to know. It's also a great way of really tuning in to your environment, into nature, whatever it is you might be doing. And it's just really good for you, good for your immune system. So do this outside. See how much you can hear. Because how often do we actually then, so when you we call it foveal diffusion. You kind of staring at the spot and you just you see when someone does the far away stare, what do they do? Well, they call that, there's something stare. It's like when they literally just stare, but they're not focused, right? Their foveal diffusion goes out. That puts you in a state, and then you're focusing on the hearing and the sensing and the breathing and all of those things. And it's really good, right? So if your brain is someone that's overstimulated, it just never shuts up, and you just can't, you keep going around in circles, sit down, put these things together, and just sit there and breathe and focus on the breathing and everything else we've discussed. And I guarantee you in a few minutes, you will feel like a weight has been lifted. And if you do this regularly enough, other interesting things start to happen. And I'll leave that to you to find out. All right. So all the best. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll speak to you again soon.